Hi everyone, David here, and welcome to the second episode of Boat-Chât. First, a quick note. Some of you may have noticed that this weekly discussion of boat stuff is occurring on Wednesdays, and coincidentally, public tests and new patches are released, for the NA server anyway, on Wednesdays. Those of you who are good at tech will know that videos take more than 0 days to make, and those of you who are good at math will conclude that it will therefore be extremely difficult for me to provide timely coverage of brand new content in this video series. That is correct, and that's just fine. The reason is that I want this to be more of a broad discussion of World of Warship's topics rather than a rundown of only breaking news. And you're covered, because there are a handful of excellent content creators out there providing concise and comprehensive coverage of the new patches. Additionally, many of these popular content creators for World of Warships are also part of the Community Contributor Program, and therefore have access to ships before I would. For example, here's what I can tell you about the upcoming French cruisers. My point is this. While I'd like to cover major news and noteworthy patch information, I also want to leave room for discussion of mid and even long-term game-related topics. So, now that I've informed you that this is a video series not usually devoted to new stuff coming in the next patch, let's talk about stuff coming in the next patch. The biggest thing coming in 0.6.4 is the French cruiser line, which I've already covered extensively earlier in this video, but there are two other things I'd like to cover. First off, and most exciting to me, the dry dock port. This simply looks amazing. My PC is chugging a bit, so excuse the garbage frames per second, but look at this port. Besides being incredibly detailed, even by the game's pretty high standards in that regard, it features dynamic lighting, which is their way of saying more than one light source, which hadn't been previously possible. And this is a great example of the new lighting. I mean, we all knew the Bismarck looked good, but now it's jaw-dropping. Now, this isn't a big deal because it makes one port look great, although that's a nice perk. Now, the reason this is important is that it opens the door for the rest of the game to eventually look this great too. Imagine how good something like Pre-Dawn on the Trident map will look with ship lights on, reflecting off the water while stuff begins to move forward. I have goosebumps just thinking about how awesome that will look. Also, the single light source issue was often cited as a key reason why night battles weren't feasible. With that limitation gone, maybe we'll see night maps in the future. There's an awful lot they could do with this new capability, and I'm excited to see how it's used to improve the visuals in the game. It's going to be great. The other upcoming change I wanted to mention is the return of the 155mm Mogami. Not that it ever left, but the approximately 8,000 second turret traverse was enough of a turn-off to many people that the ship in its unique 6-inch stock gun configuration lost a lot of the popularity it once enjoyed. Well, that's been fixed. The turret traverse for Mogami's 155mm turrets is going to be reduced to 36 seconds, and that can obviously go even lower with upgrades and/or captain skills. It's a huge improvement that a lot of players have been really wanting for a long time, and it's safe to say that the ship in its 6-inch configuration is going to be a fun, comfortable option once again. I've already rebought the ship on the live server in anticipation of this change, and if you never played the 155mm Mogami back when the turrets weren't terrible, I suggest you give it a try once patch 0.6.4 goes live in a week. It's a solid cruiser even with the 8-inch guns, but the variant with 15 6-inch guns is really something special. A final note about replays. I've asked you to send replays by uploading them to this link. Oh, and isn't the Tashkent beautiful? But you might be wondering, what happens if I use your weird link? Well, it will go into a folder only I can see, and I'll have control of it forever. That's not true, of course. It goes onto the site just like normal. The only difference is that I'm able to see the replays that have used my link, which saves you having to email it to me. You can still use the normal method if you really love email, but using the link on the screen saves you that step. That's about it for this week. Second stretch of 0.6.4 public test is live now, so if you want to check this stuff out for yourself, download the public test client and have at it. If that's too much trouble, the patch should go live next week, assuming there are no huge issues. So, thanks for watching, and happy boating.